Hi, it's Gina, and it's that time of the month again when I get to travel, and I'm so excited because I'm going to the NBA All-Star Weekend in LA. And it's not just the basketball, there's so much that's going on around it. There's a tech summit, and there's the private screening of Lupita Nyong'o's movie Black Panther. And you know, when you travel as much as I do, you always need go-to people that are going to sort you out for your trip. And one of my favorite go-to persons is Monica Kanari, who I have been working with for, I don't know, how many years now?
More than 10 years.
Yeah, more than 10 years. And Monica's amazing because I can call her and say, Monica, I've got an event tomorrow and I need an outfit and this is the color scheme. And I'm not joking, Monica always delivers, which is exactly what I did this time because I got the invite to the screening and I was like, oh, saw the dress code and it was African cultural, and I have some African outfits, but I just wanted to have something new. And Monica produced my dress in literally 5 hours. She'd come to fit me. So Monica, thank you for that.
It's always a pleasure.
And I just, you know, I always think that Monica is very well known when it comes to weddings and things like that. Monica is amazing. She just is always trying new stuff. She showed me some beautiful leather jackets recently that she had made. And I just love her creativity. So, Monica, what has inspired you to actually do the things that you do?
I think for the longest time, I have always wanted to do stuff that has a good finish and a good fit. And I think usually that is the challenge for most people, that you might have a good and creative idea or design, but if the fit isn't right and the finish isn't right, it still won't make the dress for the event. So that has been my challenge, and for many years we have been working at it, refining it, getting it right, working with a good team that has understood what I want, and that has been, I would say, my staying power. That we have a good team and we're able to still continuously produce something that is unique to us, unique to the client, and like for you, was very special to us. Good fit, and somebody who has a good figure and likes to also try different things. It's very easy to replicate something somebody wants, but when somebody gives you the freedom to say, Monica, I need something, just do. And now that gives me, that gets me excited and makes me want to go ahead and say, okay, what can we do? And that's how we always...
To be honest with you, I really thought you were going to come, we were going to do the measurements, and we were going to design, we were going to look at designs together. But no, Monica just arrives with this dress. And it was really interesting because I think that's the level of trust that one builds when they work together for a long time, is that you kind of know what will work with me. Mm-hmm. And I love that. So, you know, I could have got this beautiful dress and it's absolutely perfect. So I'm so excited to wear it. And how do you see like the fashion industry in Kenya and across Africa actually changing?
A lot has changed right now. There are a lot more designers who are doing creative stuff and new and different ideas, working with different fabrics. There's a lot more, how can I say, people have more choice today. And so if you're not consistent in what it is that you do, you are going to lose out on the market. And like for me, the challenge has been now to start finding ways to get out there and to be more available to people, which is
more visible,
which is what, that's not my strength, but it is something that I must.
Well, that's mine. Yes. So you know what, we'll just have to make sure that people get to know about you more. But I think there's been like a sort of a reawakening of African design and African. Yes. I know, you know, years ago I would not have ever thought of wearing an African outfit because I'm so used to, you know, buying my clothes when I travel, and you know, I love lots of different designers. But I really do love that there's a reawakening amongst Africans for African outfits. And are you seeing that sort of translating in the work that you do?
Very much, because it's very possible that you could go and buy an outfit and somebody else has the very same outfit. But if you do something that is African, it is very unlikely. It's not possible that somebody else has a similar dress to you, and especially if it is bespoke. So people want to do a little bit of an African accent, a little bit of an African flair, and it is something that now we're not shy of color, we're not shy of print, which is what, yes, right? Because that is what has now changed. People are not backing away from, no, I don't want too much bold color, no, I don't want too much print. Now that has made it possible to do more African stuff.
But do you think that's also, the way I look at it, I think it's also, a sign of the fact that we're just so proudly African. And I think that, for a long time, we weren't really proud to say that. We weren't proud to, because there was so much perception about the continent. And recently there's been lots of comments, talking about shithole countries and all that kind of thing. But I think it's just made us even more proud of actually who we are and how we are embracing our culture, embracing everything that is African. And so I think that translates into all that we do, into wearing African clothes. We want to wear that statement that actually, this is who I am.
Identity,
The whole identity thing. And I think that's really exciting, especially for people in the creative space, and in the people who paint, who artists, but people like you who are artists, but in the fashion industry.
And I think also because there's the fact that if it's something African, it has some authenticity, if you can put it that way, and which is what you won't get anywhere else. And I think because we're uniquely African in that way, we can always sell something that's different from the rest of the world. And I know a lot more people are able to sell their accessories, their bags, and now getting into clothes because they have an African flair, an African touch.
I mean, look at Louis Vuitton and the whole thing that they did with the Maasai blanket, and also Valentino did an African theme stuff. But how much of that sort of copyright actually comes back onto the continent?
Well, that is where we're losing, and I suppose now with going online, this is where now we have to be more careful about what it is that make sure that we brand our things and also own our brands and our creativity. And I guess that is where the challenge is for all of us who are creatives, that we don't just do stuff and it's good for them to go out into the world and into the market, but if you're not owning it, then you're losing out on that space.
And what would you say to sort of designers that are coming up, and in terms of of being proudly African, but also being able to create their brands so that international fashion houses aren't actually taking them and sort of making them out of the major fashion houses in the world?
I think it's always a good challenge to keep creating and keeping ahead of what it is that you do, always following the trends, and always take something that is African with you to influence what it is that you have, because that may not be easy to replicate. I mean, we've seen the Maasai sandals being copied, the Maasai belts, but because they're manufactured and replicated, they don't have the same flair as something that is handcrafted, and that is our strength. So we should continue to do it, continue to take our African culture and own it in the creations that we make. I think that is our best. And obviously, let's all work together to own our creativity. Use Brand Kenya to make sure that we're not just doing it locally or in our small spaces, but doing it out there, of owning it publicly, what it is that we are creating.
And I think, a lot of the local designers, the challenge that I've seen is the finish. And I mean, you're obviously a notches above that. But I think, isn't that part of it, is that we'll go out and buy a bag that is African themed, but we'll buy it in New York or something, because if you buy it here, the finish is just not the same. I know that I have a really favorite jewelry designer who lives in London. She's Kenyan, but she takes the Maasai beads and everything, and she creates the most stunning jewelry in London, but her finish is absolutely amazing. And yet, you could go to Maasai market and they're beautiful things, but then the finish is a problem. So how are we upping the game?
We actually, now that you mention that, we have a group that is called LEAR, which is Leather Entrepreneurs Association, where we're doing trainings. Doing trainings with a lot of local artisans to make sure that we're finishing correctly, we're standardizing what we're doing, because a lot of the times people are able to make something, but if you're asked to replicate and do 1,000 pieces of the same, you can't.
It's scale.
Yes, so it's about standardization, and that with the training that we're doing, we will definitely see a change in that, because people want to penetrate the international market.
Absolutely.
And the only way you can do that is if you've got good buckles, good finishes, good And it's not just the external finish, it's how you build your product from the beginning. So we're doing trainings on that so that we can grow all together.
That's really encouraging, because I know, like, one of my favorite jewelry designers is this lady, Penny Winter, who makes these bracelets. And she's really has sort of broken through the international market. And I've seen her stuff, you know, in all the big stores in the US, but she finishes her stuff really well. And I think that's really the difference. So if if the people in you who are leading the industry are actually bringing along people with you to make sure that they also can finish their items to a global standard, then everybody benefits, right?
That is true. That's true.
Well, it's really exciting to have Monica in as part of my go-to squad.
Thank you.
And I love that she's always so responsive and just does some amazing work.
Thank you.
And Monica, you know what? I am so proud of what you. I mean, in the 10 years I've seen you grow. It's like this journey that we've all been on. And I'm just excited for one of these days traveling with you maybe and doing something at an international fashion show, something that would be really fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.